Welcome one and all to this year's exciting instalment of the Ian's VR Corner Top 10 list, where I, Ian Higton, will be going over my top 10 favourite PSVR games of 2020. 2020, as we all know, was basically one big ball ache for the entire planet, but at least we had some incredible VR offerings to take our minds off all that impending doom. As per usual, the following list is completely my opinion, and it only features games that I myself have played, so if I've missed out one of your favourites, chances are it's either because I thought it was a bit bobbins, or that I just didn't have enough time to give it a go. Either way, please do share the love for your favourite PSVR games of 2020 in the comments below, and hopefully together we can inspire others to try them out too. Okay, let's start unwrapping this list.
Take up your weapon and salute!
The ludicrous lopping and comedy chopping of goofy gladiatorial game Gorn provided me with a huge amount of much-needed laughter this year. The premise of Gorn is simple: fight against waves of scantily clad beefy bad guys who totter around on tiny unstable legs like newborn deer, and use a variety of weapons to batter them to death like some kind of Poundland Conan the Barbarian. The virtual violence is completely over the top and very bloody, but as each brawl is designed to be a little bit wobbly and wonky, like those inflatable sumo suits you get at fairground attractions, it all just adds to the overall hilarity. As with any VR game that involves dual-wielding melee weapons, motion controls are a necessity here, but my twin move controllers felt like they were more than up to the task. The game accurately tracked every chop of my sword and every swing of my club, and although the general movement can take a little while to get used to due to its sluggish and unwieldy nature, the combat still feels fair, if a little floaty at times. With a custom sandbox mode, 4 different arenas, and a load of weapons to choose from, there's definitely plenty to do here, but it does feel more like a game to dip in and out of or whip out at parties, rather than something you'd want to play for extended periods.
Impressive. Raise your fists and have your victory.
One of the first things you'll notice when playing Vader Immortal is just how bloody tall old Darthy boy here is. Thanks to the power of VR, you can finally feel what it's like to actually stand before the wheezing Sith Lord himself. And let me tell you right now, it's every bit as terrifying as you'd imagine. There are 3 episodes to Star Wars Vader Immortal, and while each one is pretty short, the production values more than make up for their lack of length. Basically, if you ever wanted to experience what it was like to star in your very own Star Wars adventure, this trilogy will do exactly that. By far the best of the 3 episodes is the first one though, as this introduces you to the world, the excellent supporting characters, and of course, it lets you wield your very own lightsaber. The graphics are fantastic, the audio design and voice acting are top notch, and the inclusion of the awesome lightsaber dojo pads out the runtime and makes you feel like a legend with a lightsaber as you attempt to smash droids and your high scores over and over again. The teleport-only move scheme might be a letdown for some, but it doesn't really affect the gameplay at all, and it makes this an incredibly comfortable way for Padawans to learn the way of the VR Force. Basically, if you're a fan of Star Wars, you'll definitely Obi-want this one in your library.
I will send for you shortly.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
The much-anticipated VR update for Dreams was finally released in July of this year, and it brought with it limitless possibilities and an endless supply of PSVR games and experiences for all you dreamers out there to enjoy and, more importantly, create. As with standard Dreams creations, there's plenty of muck to wade through before you're able to stumble across something that will truly take your breath away, but since its release, I've discovered countless user-created games of incredible quality, and as people learn the tools, that number is only on the increase. While the Dreams VR update does include a variety of comfort options such as teleportation, blinkers and click turn, each experience is so unique that it's very hard to predict how a game will make you feel until you actually play it, so that's worth bearing in mind if you are a newcomer to VR. Thankfully, there are ways for creators to rank the intensity of their creations, so bear that in mind as some of the more experimental builds can be rather intense on the old tum-tum. Control methods are also inconsistent and they vary wildly depending on the creation you're playing, so expect to be swapping from DualShock to Move and back again on the regular as you explore. Despite the unpredictable nature of the games you'll be offered, in my opinion, the VR update for Dreams is the best thing to happen to the game yet. Not only has it opened up an incredible amount of possibilities for new and imaginative virtual experiences, but it can also act as a good testing ground for developers to experiment with new VR ideas. The Room VR A Dark Matter is the 5th game in the Room series, and while it's the first one to make the jump to VR, its spooky escape room escapades are a perfect fit for the medium. The story takes place in a smoggy London in 1908, and there's a really creepy Lovecraftian atmosphere to the proceedings. This ambiance is enhanced by some quality visuals, and all the locations in the game are incredibly detailed and well realised. This is of course in part down to the fact that each area is small and enclosed, but this modest scope has allowed the team at Fireproof Games to create levels that feel real and lived in. As with all puzzle and escape room games, the success or failure of the product largely depends on how good its head-scratchers are. Thankfully, the signature touchy-feely puzzle-solving gameplay of the Room series works incredibly well in VR. The physicality afforded by the motion controls and the ability to be able to interact with the puzzle objects and push, pull and turn the strange mechanisms that lay hidden inside them is particularly fun, and you'll get a huge sense of satisfaction from solving the game's often quite abstract puzzles. If you're looking for an immersive, entertaining puzzler for your VR headset that's comfortable for any level of VR enthusiast to play, I would thoroughly recommend placing your face in this wonderful room.
Gunsmith set a timer on this combat challenge.
Down a lot of drones fast. Got it.
The next entry on this list allows you to become everyone's favourite Avenger, and being able to climb into Iron Man's iconic red and yellow armour in VR is a literal repulsor blast. The action-packed campaign pits you against hacker and anti-corporate activist Ghost and their endless army of drones, and it plays out across a series of large levels with plenty of marvellous plot twists along the way that will keep you engaged in between all those bouts of airborne acrobatics. Using twin move controllers to mimic Iron Man's hand-mounted thrusters, you'll soon find yourself zipping about through rock arches and caves, rocketing between towering skyscrapers, and you'll even be able to buzz Tony Stark's iconic Malibu mansion as well. The control scheme can tie your brain in knots a little bit at first, especially once combat is introduced, but the thrill you'll feel when you find your stride and really become Iron Man is quite unlike anything else I've experienced in VR. There's quite a lengthy campaign here too, with plenty of suit upgrades and skins to unlock, alongside your standard wave-based score attack modes, but combat can get a little bit samey thanks to the cut-and-paste drone enemy types. Nevertheless, playing Iron Man VR is the closest I've come to feeling like a proper superhero yet, and despite a few of its flaws, I still love it 3000.
That ground's getting awfully close.
Heads up!
スピード感のない恋は嫌なのスピード感のない恋は嫌1分間で全てが変わる一瞬が一生繰り返す
Paper Beast is easily one of the most unforgettable experiences I've ever had in VR. It starts with a bang, throwing you into the middle of some sort of interactive music video for a Japanese rock band, then, without much warning, you're dropped right into the middle of a desert wasteland and left to fend for yourself. And Oh, what a world it is to inhabit. This is so different to locations in any other VR games I've played. It's prickly and lavish and extremely colourful. There are Dali deserts and Sega skies, there are crags and mountains and dunes, and best of all, the world is alive. Noble Jurassic beasts with bones made of paper and gems stride past. Origami almost tigers and almost horses hunt and scavenge and interact. There's a thing that's just ragged mops of newsprint, a sort of benign horror show Dougal from the Magic Roundabout that puffs and pants like an old dog when it's tired. In all honesty, it's almost overwhelming at first because these creatures are so well animated that they feel incredibly real in VR. You really live with these creatures and you form a connection with them. They are right there in the same space as you. When they're tethered and you free them, you're really the one doing the freeing. This is a landscape full of fantastical surprises, but VR helps to make it feel substantial and convincing. And as the game progresses, you get to see this world from some surprising vantage points. This is a game with a keen eye for a sense of wonder, and in my opinion, it's a truly essential purchase for your PSVR.
Vanguard 1 standing by.
This is Vanguard 5, standing by.
If there's one thing that VR excels in, it's making your childhood dreams become a reality, and no other game has done that better this year than Star Wars Squadrons. Sitting inside the virtual cockpit of an X-Wing for the very first time will give you an incredible buzz, and more importantly, it will instantly make you feel like you're in a Star Wars. The excellent sound design and detailed cockpits make this experience feel incredibly authentic, and for a Star Wars fan, it provides some of the most exciting sci-fi dogfights this side of the Outer Rim. The action in Star Wars Squadrons is really a game of two halves though. Split into a 10-hour campaign and two main multiplayer modes, which are both VR compatible, both sides somehow feel completely different despite sharing the same set of controls, with the story favouring immersion and the multiplayer providing more of the compelling starfighting experience that I suspect fans are looking for. The story sort of feels like a Disneyland ride, with the player teleported between rooms to have characters talk at them in one-sided conversations like animatronics. By no means is this a bad thing, however, as soaring over a Star Destroyer in VR is truly thrilling, but the multiplayer is where Squadron's gameplay really comes into its own. Locking onto an enemy player's craft and using the power of your own neck to look around and behind you as it flies over you feels magnificent. It's physicality like this that really grounds you in the moment, and the thrill of weaving your way through space debris to hunt down your prey will have you on the edge of your seat, right up until the moment that your proton torpedoes find their target and you rocket through the resulting explosion. Great game, kid. That was 1 in a million.
No need to thank me.
Thanks.
Pistol whip.
Beat Saber is a fantastic game, and it's a classic VR title because it's easy to pick up and play, and it instantly makes you feel like a Jedi. Some might say it's the perfect VR game, but in my opinion, Pistol Whip here gives it a good run for its money, because this stylish rhythm action game follows a very similar formula. It's easy for anyone to pick up and play, regardless of their VR skill levels, and it instantly makes you feel like you're John Wick kicking ass inside a nightclub that's located in the Matrix. Played on easy mode, enemy waves are quite manageable and bullets are infrequently fired, but graduate to normal or hard modes and things quickly get sweaty as multiple enemies attack from multiple angles in quick succession. Your only weak point is your head, so expect to be doing lots of ducking, dodging and cool backwards limbo leans as bullets whiz past you while you glide gracefully through each level to some really cool pumping beats. A couple of bullets to the face will instantly end your run, but if you get hit once, keep shooting and you'll soon earn health boosts, while killing enemies to the beat of the music will reward you with higher scores. If you're already a fan of Beat Saber, I can't recommend this game highly enough. It's one of those games that keeps calling out to me to play it. The intensely physical nature of the gameplay does necessitate a large play area in order to pull off some of the more extreme evasive manoeuvres, mind you, but if you've got access to one of those, then I think this game is an absolute must-buy. Minecraft VR has been out for a fair few years now on PC platforms, but this year's PSVR update for the PS4 version was my very first experience with it, and to say it impressed me is a bit of an understatement. Everything about Pancake Minecraft that you're familiar with is enhanced inside the PSVR headset. Those blocks you've been punching and mining for years on end? Turns out they're actually absolutely massive. And the mobs, they're like 6 foot tall now, and standing eye to eye with them makes them much more intimidating. Exploration is also so much more compelling now too. There really is no other feeling like that of being able to stand on the edge of a deep dark hole in VR and lean over and peer into the darkness below and plan your route down into the unknown. Similarly, above land, climbing huge mountains and then staring out over the lands that stretch out before you in VR magnifies that feeling of wonder and discovery tenfold, and it compels you to explore every inch of the infinite world. And of course, let's not forget the horror. Who knew that Minecraft could be so scary? But in VR, when a huge zombie or a creepy Enderman emerges from the shadows unexpectedly, it really is yelp-inducing, and it's made my blood run cold on several occasions. Comfort-wise, Minecraft VR can get a bit extreme for newcomers, but the two different viewing modes on offer, VR Immersive and VR Living Room, lets you choose between playing the game fully immersed in its world or, alternatively, on a virtual screen in front of you. There have been many times during the past 10 years of watching the Walking Dead TV show where I've thought to myself, wow, what a stupid decision. You deserve to get eaten for that, you fool. That's part of the fun of zombie shows, though, I guess. Not the wanting people to get eaten bit, mind. I'm talking about imagining how you'd act if you were in that character's shoes and what you'd be willing to do in order to survive. I've played through scenarios like this many times across multiple zombie-based video games, so I'd like to think I've got a good idea of how things would go if I got caught up in a real-life zombie apocalypse. But The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is probably the first game I've ever played that truly delivers an authentic and believable feeling of surviving in the aftermath of an undead uprising. From the way your bladed weapons stick in the skulls of the zombies so you can feel the grip of the bone as you forcefully yank them back out, through to the miniature open world levels that reward you for stealth and scavenging, this is by far the most immersive and believable VR game I've played on PSVR this year. It's a masterclass in those little details that make VR so special, and this, alongside the unpredictability of the game world, means that even though there is a central narrative, each time you play it, the story will be your own. The controls are fantastic, it looks gorgeous, there's plenty of comfort and control options available to suit all needs, and there's a huge game here that you'll be able to completely lose yourself in for hours at a time. The zombie apocalypse has never been so believable or so much fun, and if you have a PSVR headset, it would be an utter sin not to give this game a go. And that, my lovely Cornerinos, is that. I hope you enjoyed this look back at my favourite PSVR games of 2020, but if I did miss out any of your favourites, do remember to tell us about them in the comments below. Before I waddle off to down a Christmas ale or three, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has watched, liked, shared or commented on an Ian's VR Corner video this year. It is, as ever, immensely appreciated because if it wasn't for you, there'd be no point in me doing this at all. As 2020 closes off with a brand new console generation, it's going to be interesting to find out exactly what Sony's plans are for PSVR in 2021. Sure, the PS5 is backwards compatible with PS4 VR titles, but how long will development on those last for? And what about native PS5 PSVR games? Will they ever happen? Will there be a PSVR 2 announcement at some point? Or will the PSVR go the way of the PS Vita and just slowly drift into obscurity while Sony sits on its butt and twiddles its thumbs? I'll be keeping both eyes peeled for info, when I'm not in VR of course, so stick with me here in my VR corner in 2021 and fingers crossed we can all find out together. If this video is the first you've seen of my VR coverage, by the way, Ian's VR Corner happens every Sunday on this channel, so do subscribe for more and click that bell icon for updates whenever they're uploaded. Oh, and of course, do have a lovely Christmas and a wonderful New Year. Goodbye.
Heaven is turned against us, and hell is rising up.